are going to learn about data analysis, data visualization, and data prepping in Looker Studio by using the help of Chat GPT. So if you are new to data analysis and visualization, this video is perfect for you. Hi there, welcome back to my channel. This is SL. If you are new here, in this channel we share data analytics and visualization in Looker Studio. Recently, I conducted a poll among my YouTube audience to ask if they find ChatGPT useful in solving the technical challenges they face in BI tools, specifically Looker Studio. So half of them say that ChatGPT is not useful. This wasn't entirely unexpected because I had encountered very similar experience myself. However, after some experimentations and explorations, I discovered that even though there are some limitations with ChatGPT in helping us with data visualization problems, it can still be an valuable tool for data analysts, especially among the beginners, in multiple ways. I'm going to share with you how you can use ChatGPT to accelerate your learning process and start building actionable dashboards so that you can show it in your portfolio and resume. So together we will build an interactive data dashboard in Looker Studio using ChatGPT, starting from finding data sets, creating the visually appealing dashboards, and lastly, diving into the advanced data transformation techniques. If you are my regular audience that looks for Looker Studio content, I will also recommend you to watch till the end because I'm going to review some of the best tips that you will love to know when working with data in Looker Studio. As usual, I will prepare the timestamps below so that you can jump to the sections that you need. First thing first, we're going to head to ChatGPT to find us a data set that we would like to work on. Let's say you want to look for a data analyst job in a specific industry, say sports industry. So you can use this prompt that I'm currently using. Find me 5 data sets in the sports industry. Or you can replace the sports words with other industry name. Continue by that are great for dashboard building and practicing regular expressions. So kindly provide the link back to the dataset, and the data should be stored in CSV files. I'm trying to be very specific with ChatGPT to mention that I need 5 data sets in the industry that I have specified. And I also included other details like dashboard building and regular expressions, which I'm going to use it for the practice. So from there, ChatGPT will generate the responses that provide the relevant public data sets, along with the description of the data set and link to the source. Now we can click on the link to go back to the original source that has this data sets. So you can see that for this Kaggle data set, you can see some sample values through the page here, and from there I can kind of know that whether this dataset will suit my need or not. And if it fits your purpose, you can just click download from there and you got your dataset to work on. Just a reminder that if you're downloading a Kaggle dataset, you will need to log in first in order to download it. Next, we want to start building a dashboard in Looker Studio. We will first need to import the data from Google Sheets to Looker Studio in order to start building it. Hi guys, I'm so sorry that I have to re-record this because most of the footage was corrupted and I couldn't use them, so I have to start over here. So please don't mind me, and let's continue with the session. So I have this dataset that I have downloaded as a CSV file, and then I just copy pasted them to the Google Sheets because I just prefer my data to sit on Google Sheets, and if any data transformation is needed on Google Sheets site, it will be easier to do as compared to the CSV file. So I just did that. You can go ahead with the CSV file, it would just work the same. So now I'm going to go to the crash course. Here you can see the dashboard that I've already built, but I'm going to just repeat it again here. So first thing first, you're going to go to add data and you're going to add the Google Sheets data, or if you are if you are using the CSV file, it's going to use this file upload connector. So just click on Google Sheets and you go to the Owned by Me and look for the data sets that you have. Then make sure to click on the worksheet that you have. If you have multiple tabs, make sure to click on the worksheet with the data and click Add. It's going to take a while to upload the document because data is quite huge. And once you see this prompt, you can click Add to Report. And now you can see that I have 2 data sets here, but this is a new one. Let me just name it as Let me just name it as FIFA so it's easier for us to recognize. Then click Finish. So now I'll just click Add a new page to start working on it. So here I will just start with the title. Maybe I'll just do this. World Cup Players Dashboard. And I can make this bigger, changing the font size to a bigger font size. And I would also want to have an image, so I can just upload the image from my laptop. So this is the image that I have, and now I can just open it so it gets uploaded. And I'm going to just expand it to fit this dashboard. And if you go to view mode, this is how it looks like. And probably I would just push this to the back. And for this, I'm going to remove the background and set the font as maybe grayish. Okay. And I can add a line to this dashboard just to separate the title and the dashboard. And we can change the color for the line as well. Okay, and now we can start adding the charts. So the first chart that we're going to add is a scorecard. So you can just click Add a Chart and click Scorecard, and click on the canvas again to add the chart. So we want to have a few scorecards to show the total coaches, the total players that we have, and we also want to see like how many teams are there inside this data set. So maybe we can start with the player name. So we can just drag and drop the player name to the matrix so that it will count how many players are there in this data set. So you can see we have 7,000 plus players in this data set. And next I'll just copy this and paste so that I can get a scorecard quickly. Then we will go ahead for the number of teams we have. So we have 82 teams, total players 7,000. And we also want to know how many coaches are there. So you can just drag and drop the coach name. And lastly, how many matches are there. So for this one, you may notice that the number doesn't make sense at all because it's not counting the total distinct events. Instead, because the match ID is in text, maybe it will be easier to see if I just pull out a table. Okay, so you can see the match ID is in number format. It's an ID, so by right it should be recognized as a text instead of the number. So what we're going to do is to go to the edit data source, and we're going to change it from number to text. So then click Finish, And now you can see there's an error here. So you just have to drag and drop this metric to this dimension to the metric again, and it will fix the issue. And this will get us a total matches. And based on the ChatGPT, the data in this dashboard display the data from 1930 to 2018. So we can just add the label here so then it's easily understandable that these numbers are referring to this period of time. So now we can go ahead and rename it as total players, total teams, or just total matches. So that's the 4 scorecards that we want to have in the dashboard. Next, we're going to add a chart to display the position of the players. So now we can add a pie chart, and then we can add a position in the dimension, and the total players is in metric. Here we can see that majority of the players doesn't really have a category to it, so maybe we just want to label it as others. And we also have GKC and GKC. And if we refer back to the data set, you can see that there is a value or kind of like data dictionary that refers GK as goalkeeper and C as captain. But as a user without any knowledge on this industry, it would be difficult for them to understand it by just looking at the abbreviations here. So as a data analyst, we will want to make sure that we encode the values here into the full name, so then whoever looking at this dashboard are able to analyze the data and get the insights out of it. So we're going to push that to the later stage where we're going to learn about how to handle the text transformations with calculated fields and ChatGPT. But for now, I think this will do. And the next one, we're going to show top 20 players who attended the most matches. So we're going to go for the bar chart here. So we're going to choose the horizontal bar chart. And for the dimension, we're going to drag and drop the player's name. And for the metric, it's already picking the match ID, which is the total matches. So that's correct. So now you can resize the chart here. And for the name here, because the name is quite long, so you also want to move this axis to the right a little, so then you can see all the names here. Next, you want to make sure that we show top 20. And now in this bar chart, the default is 10 bars. So to modify that, you go to Style and change the pops bars option from 10 to 20. And we also want to show the data labels here. All right, so now here is considered done, and we would want to just go down a little to remove the legend here because we're going to add a title later for this chart, so there's no need for that. All right, I think that is great. Okay, just to make this bigger. Okay, and the last chart would be, let me just take a look. So the last chart we want to add is the top 10 teams with the most players. So we could add a new chart with bars. Sorry, just make some adjustment here. And so for this one, we want to know like the top 10 teams. So we gotta have the team in the dimension. So here is the team initials. Can put it in a dimension. And so we have the team as our x-axis. And for the y-axis, we want to count how many players are there in the team. So here is the player name. If your chart doesn't have the correct metric chosen, you can just drag and drop the player name into the metric and it will get calculated. So now we can see the top team is actually Brazil, followed by Italy, then Argentina, and so on. So it's pretty clear. And now I would just like to remove the legend again. Right. And maybe we should also show the data labels. Right. And next, we're going to just add title for each of this chart. So this one would be players position. This done very quickly, and if you go to view mode, so now you can see that this dashboard is pretty awesome. You can see that when I click on Ronaldo, we can see that Ronaldo has been on 2 teams, and it has total 5 coaches, and it has attended to 33 matches by just clicking on these bars. And you can do it for the same for other players if you wish. And we can also go to analyze from the point of view of a team. Say I want to know more about Brazil team, then I can just click on it and it will show me the players position per position, and then I can see that who are the top 20 players in the team based on their attendance. So yeah, that's about the dashboard that we're going to build today. I purposely pick a very simple example because I don't want to let you all feel overwhelmed, and also this is a good example to work with text transformations. As you can see here that we have some of the abbreviations here that we could use some techniques to improve this further. As well as for the player's name, you can see that some of the player name are in capital letter and some are in small letter, so it's not consistent. So we can also use some formulas in Looker Studio to standardize it. So I'm going to cover all this in the later session with the help of ChatGPT. So if you're someone new to Looker Studio, you don't really know how to write a formula, you don't have to, because now ChatGPT can tell you the answers, but sometimes it doesn't work. So stay with me till the end and we're going to explore how you can use that. First, let's start with data encoding, or so-called data mapping. You can see that I used the prompt to say that in Data Studio, could you write a formula to help me convert the values below to the corresponding full name? So I just write 3 conditions for it to be categorized. And so when you hit enter, ChatGPT is going to help you find a formula that could help you to do the transformation, and is going to give you a set of formula that is well written, so then you can just copy and paste into Looker Studio. It also goes on to describe and elaborate the conditions and what the formula will do for you. So you can see that other than the condition that we have provided, it has also added a condition to cater for new values or other values that doesn't include in the rules previously, gets categorized into another category. In here, it's categorized as unknown, but we can also customize it to put it under others category. With that in mind, let's copy the code and go to Looker Studio. Now we can click add the field to add a new calculator field, and can give it name, say asterisk position, then paste the function here and remove the comments from the formula so that it doesn't throw an error. Then you can customize the other category from unknown to others, then click save and finish. Now you can replace the dimension in the pie chart with the new calculated field, and the new values will be shown in the pie chart. This method is great when we have just a couple of values to be encoded, but it might be a problem and not so productive or efficient when we're trying to encode a lot of values. For example, when we're dealing with country code. So this can actually be automated using Chat GPT. So I'm going to show you a trick here, how we can quickly get all the values for a country using Chat GPT. So to do that, I'll actually just create a new page, and I'll just add a table chart and put in the values team initials. This is going to be the country code for the teams. And from here, I can right click and export this into CSV or Google Sheets. So in this case, I export it to a Google Sheet file, and I'll just copy the entire column and go to the ChatGPT. So here I can actually just prompt ChatGPT to help me encode these values. And I'll just copy and paste all the values that I have copied. So then ChatGPT can find the corresponding full name for each of this country code. You can see that the field name used here is country code, but in our dataset is actually team initials. So what you can do is to prompt ChatGPT to correct it. But I find it more efficient if you can just copy the entire formula, go to the Google Sheets and replace the country code with the field name. But in my case, with a few prompts, it still doesn't get rid of the single quote. So I decided to move to Google Sheets and remove the single quotes using the method that I just told you about. So that works perfectly. So sometimes you gotta learn how to use alternative to get around with this when the tool is not performing well in this case. Now I can just create a new field with the formula generated by ChatGPT with slight adjustment from our site. So that is very cool, and I thought this is super useful, so I want to share with you in this tutorial. Now let's move on to the last exercise of today, where we'll learn how to convert the Lettercase from the inconsistent format now into lowercase. So I actually started with asking ChatGPT for advice, whether it can help us to convert to lower or uppercase, but ChatGPT told us that there's no such function. But it is inaccurate because there is such function if you refer to the official documentation. So the reason why I included this here is because I want you to always stay curious and always double check the fact with the official documentation, because that's the most correct source. Even though ChatGPT can sometimes help us speed up the process of developing a dashboard and help us find a solution to our technical challenges. But I just want to put this out there so that you are kind of alert of what may go wrong here when you are trying to use tools like this. So with that, let's start to create the calculator field. So in this case, we can just key in lower, and inside the parentheses, you can just key in the name of the field. And that's it. With this simple function, can now convert all the case into lowercase, and the dashboard will look much neat this way. So I hope with this video, I can introduce you to some new ways of learning data analysis and visualization. And if you are someone who would like to know more about the fundamentals in Looker Studio, feel free to check out my free Looker Studio course, which is available in my channel. There will be a data set, and you can work with the data and create a beautiful sales dashboard that you can show in your resume. So with that, I'll see you in the next one, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you like all the content here, and do continue to support my channel as we grow. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye bye.